Hello and welcome to Tim's BMW Repairs and Information, and this episode is all about getting help with your BMW. It can be extremely daunting. You've just spent out a few quid on an old BMW and something goes wrong. So what do you do in those situations? Well, I mean, if we're talking E31, E32 and E38, well, taking it to BMW isn't a great option because, first of all, it's very expensive, and secondly, they tend to not have any information at all on the older cars. In fact, E31s and E32s just can't be diagnosed on the old equipment, and that's how BMW's technicians work these days. Now, there's a few who still know their stuff, but in the main, there's a certain routine for looking at a BMW car. The first thing you do is you plug it into diagnostics, and it'll find all the problems with the car, and then it'll guide them through how to repair it. That isn't going to happen on an E31, E32, or even the E38. You might have a bit more chance with the E63 and 64, but not the big old BMWs. Now, I'm afraid they're pre-diagnostics as such. I mean, we can put diagnostics on them, but it isn't anywhere near as comprehensive as it is for modern cars. Okay, so what do we do next? Sitting at home, we've got a broken car. So let's take, for example, my E31 that's out there at the moment. Now, at the weekend, all of a sudden, something went pop and lots of green stuff came out. Okay, I saw when the green stuff came out. I've got a good idea what it is. But where do I go next to find out what it was? I could go to the forums and say, my BMW E31 went pop and green stuff came out. Well, we need a bit more information than that. So what we can do at the moment, and in fact I'll show you how to do it on this computer, is how to find out what went pop and why green stuff came out of it. I mean, this is just a practical exercise, and at least it will take us through the sort of routine of trying to find out what's gone wrong, where to get help, how to use the internet to find part numbers, and then how to use the internet to find the parts which match those part numbers. It's quite a complicated system, to be honest, but we'll go through every step of it so that you don't have to work it all out like I did. Also, the forums are very helpful, and we'll go through the forums that I use, because I use specific forums. I'm a moderator on a couple of them and just a member on the others. I'll tell you which forums really work well for each model of car, because there's completely different ones for one model to the next. And I'll also tell you which forums are the busiest, so you've got more of a chance of getting a reply there. Right, well, a good place to start, as I said, is that E31. It's gone pop. Green stuff has come out of it, and now we need to know how to fix it. Right, let's start at the top of the engine. Now, where I saw the stuff coming out was just here, just at the wing, just below the wing. But it's been about a week since then, and I've driven the car every day in torrential rain, so I'm not surprised that I'll see nothing in there. No, I can't see any sign of green in there. Quick look in the wing. Oh, that's interesting. Look, there's some green stuff around that bolt there, which holds the wing on. So yeah, it can be pretty sure that all the stuff has come from inside that wing. Tiny bit on the self-tapper above it, but no, that's a good indication it came out of there. So within the wing, inside there. Right, let's have a look from the top. Getting dark now. So let's have a look around the compressor. There's a compressor down there. I can get you in the shot so you can see. Yeah, there's a compressor down there. That's fine, no green stuff there. Condenser, well, we can get at that from the front. You have to go underneath the front of the car through the CSI scoop. Of course, black as night now. So what can we see in there? We can see the connections to the condenser, and that's fine. No sign of anything on the condenser, so that's good. So condenser's fine.
So yeah, that really leaves the stuff in this right hand wing. Good. Right, let's go to the computer and sort things out.
Righty-ho, let's find the problem then. I've got a nice cup of tea. The problem is my BMW E31 is leaking green stuff out. It went pop, green stuff came out, air conditioning stopped working. So how are we going to get past this bit? Am I going to have to take all sorts of bits off the car to find out where it's leaked? No, I think what I'll do is I'll start with one of the forums. And the best forum for E31 is Bmw forums. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to go directly to the forum and use their search facility because, well, it doesn't work very well. So what I'll do is I'm going to start a screen recording, record that, entire screen, share, screen recording, and what I'm going to type in is E31. I've obviously done this once already. Green leak at the front of the car, or put by the wing, I think. And then this is the important bit. You type in site, colon, and then you can put which sites you want to search. I'm going to put bmwforums.com, and then we're going to use that search term. It looks like there aren't any great matches for your search. That seems fair enough. I'm going to get rid of wing, put green leak there instead of that. Okay, so we've now got a list of stuff, even got some pictures. So green leak, Bmw forums, green fluid leak, so the leak I had measured for was power steering, so that kind of it looks like. Okay, green leak. I placed a start. Thought it was, and then he thought it was a transmission. Native address. So we've got some advice here. Yeah, so just saying replace the transmission lines. Green transmission fluid, really? That's from Cartoons. Now he's been on the forums a while. Got 2,889 posts, so he knows what he's talking about. That is the transmission, and only transmission fluid runs inside of it. Right, radiator's low on fluid. Right, failed internally. Okay, so this sort of seems like that's a dead thread. So it doesn't actually go anywhere. We don't get a result from it. Light green fluid leaking under rear AC bracket. Well, that's the sort of area. Okay, so can't tell if it's coolant or AC oil. Well, it's not AC oil. If it's the air conditioning systems, it will be a dye. PEG oil is colourless, but the dye they put in the system is bright green. So bright green sounds like a good plan. And so we've got someone saying, you sure it's not Penticin? Fair enough. Yeah, not hydraulic fluid. And then we've got TXGR8 White, and he mends these things. He mends E31s, and he's been on the forums forever. He's the E31 chapter president of BMW CCA. So, and he's got 10,267 posts. So we know what he says is probably going to be right. Sounds like someone may have injected tracer dye into the AC system. They do that to locate leaks. Dripping from the rear compressor, may have some leaky O-rings. Right, fair enough. So that's excellent advice. It could be, well, it probably is the air conditioning system, and it could be an O-ring that's failed. I'm liking this more as we go through because at least we're getting somewhere. Yeah, gremlin piss. Oh, here we go. Here's a post from Shogun. It's my friend Eric from Japan, and he knows everything you could want to know about E32s, and he knows a lot about E31s as well. He's got 47,610 posts. You can be pretty sure he knows what he's talking about. Said, I had such a green leak on my E32 750 flowing down from the dryer. Now that's good. That's good information. Could be the dryer. It was AC oil and the leak was the safety pressure switch. The plastic around the pins and switch got brittle oil leaked. Okay, that's good. So it could well be the receiver dryer. He's very helpfully given us a link which will take us to the next place we're going to. But I'm not going to use his link. Instead, I'm going to do what you've got to do, which is go to Real OEM. So what we do, type in realoem.com, and then what we do, we can find parts using this system. So we go into there, use your VIN number, the last 7 numbers of it. EC67301 is my car. So whiz in there, so that's got the right car. We've got E31, Coupe 840, made in Europe, 1198, M62 right-hand drive. So that's my car. Right, now what we could do is we could do a search for dryer. It's worth a go. No, good. Spelt differently. Dryer. Yeah, we'll give that a go. Oh, here we go. Coolant lines is the heading. Righty-ho. So there's a diagram of the air conditioning system, and I've found that by typing in the word dryer. Unfortunately, it hasn't got a part number on the dryer. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in a different way. We're going to go right back to the start. I'm going to select the car, put in my VIN, CC67301 search. Excuse me. Also need a slurp tea. Browse parts. Go for all of this lot, and heating and air conditioning. That's the right one. We're going to quickly whiz through. There's the coolant lines diagram we had just now, so we can click on that. No part number on the dryer. So go back up one. Here is the dryer and the condenser and the auxiliary fan and the switch that Eric talked about. So what do we do next if we want to buy a part? Well, we can get the part number from it. That's number 1. There's the part number. You can tell that it's only used on the E31. It's not used on any other models. So we'll take that number. Excuse me. And what we can do is we can go on to Google. We can type BMW, put the part number in and do a search for it. And we'll put up images. So yeah, lots and lots of dryers there we could buy. We've got technical services, FCP, Europe, Euro, car parts, lots of them. Let's try eBay. Okay. 208 quid, that's a bit expensive. No, what I'm going to do, go to eBay, BMW, put the part number, do a search. Oh, there we go. 100 quid. Yeah, I could buy that. That seems much more acceptable. Yeah, but what if it was the switch? Well, let's do the same thing. Let's go back to that one. There's the switch that Eric was talking about, number 5. Safety switch. There we go. And we go into eBay again. And we're buying up BMW. That part number. Got any? Yeah, 41 quid. That's lovely. So yeah, there's quite a few of them to choose from. Choose anything you like. Yeah, cheap as muck. And they're the right BMW connectors. So that's good. So that's, I mean, it could just be an O-ring. Next thing is, where is it? How do we get to it? Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go back to Google, and what we'll do is we'll type in BMW E31 receiver dryer. I'll spell it like that now. Well, we've got lots of pictures of them. Let's see if we've got some images of them in a car. Well, that's from me now. That's not going to help, is it? Well, there's a view from the top by the look of it. And that's not an E31 to start with. So that's the problem with Google, is they do tend to not give you the thing you've asked for. So yeah, I'm afraid we've got lots of pictures of my car in there for some reason. Right, let's try just the dryer, I think. Because we know more or less where it is, but it'd be nice to know exactly. Oh, there we go. That's just what we're looking for. So that's good. That's inside the right-hand wing, looking forward. And there's the receiver dryer. There's the pressure lines coming in. There's the switch. So now we know the part number. We know the price of it. We know where to get it. We can get the switch. We can get the dryer. And we know that this is behind the wheel liner. So really that'd be a case of getting the wheel off, get the wheel liner off, and Bob's your uncle. Okay, so that's marvellous. That really saves me from going into it from the top, because that would mean headlight off, air accumulator off, and then we'd find out that we can just see the top of the thing rather than anything useful. So excellent. So that's good. So that's really a quick run through how to solve a problem on one of the cars. Next section, which are the best forums for each model of car? Right, so which forums for which series of car? Well, we're really talking about 6, 7 and 8 series. Those are the cars I have experience with and the forums that I have experience of. So let's start with the lowest one, E31, which is the 8 series. Where's the best place to go for that? Well, there's two good forums for that. There's bmwforums.com and bmwforums.co.uk. They've both got E31 sections which are quite lively. So let's have a quick whiz on to one of them. There we go. Go on to the E31 series at Bimmer Forums. People asking me questions again. And yeah, there's a lot of information on bmwforums.com. And don't forget that, of course, you can just sort of browse around the 8 series forum and you get a lot of information from there as well. In particular, look for threads that have a definitive ending rather than someone just sort of giving up at the end. Those sort of threads are pretty useless to most of us. We much prefer threads which have a finality to it. So whether they can afford to fix it is a different question, but at least they know what the problem is. And of course, then other members will know what the problems are as well and have a good idea of how to fix them. So dead threads, absolutely useless to anyone. And if you're going to put a thread onto a forum and you're going to ask a question, for goodness sake, when it's repaired, let us know on the forums, because then other people will know if that fix worked. Anyway, that's me ranting again. Yeah, 8 series forum on bmwforums.com. Fantastic place to start. And don't forget, of course, to not use their search facility, because it's quite awkward to work. I've never had much luck with it. It's much better to go to, just open up a blank page and then use the site colon search, which is much better. And don't forget to put the model before it, because of course bmwforums.com and .uk cover a lot of different cars. So yeah, they're 8 series forum on bmwforums.com, excellent, but don't use their search facility. It's always handy to have a quick look round through the forum to see if you can find anything that suits your problem. If you can't, then use Google and do a site search, and you'll get the information a lot better than using Bimmer Forums Bimmer Forums search facility. Okay, let's move up to the E32. Again, bmwforums.com is the best place to go, and the moderator on there is my friend Eric Shogun, and there isn't much he doesn't know about the E32 and all the different models as well, right from the 730 up to the 750. So bmwforums.com, fantastic place to go. And if you really want something answered, go onto there, post a question, and you'll get some great answers as well. So yeah, bmwforums.com again for the E32. But in addition to that is the 7 series forum. I'll go on to that. There we go, that's the 7 series forum. So there's a lot of threads, and it's mostly on the E32, and I joined it in 2004, and it was all about E32s in those days. The E38 was seen as some sort of car you'd never attain because they're so expensive, and these days you can get them for 500 quid. But that's another story. Anyway, 7 Series forums, say the 7 Series register.co.uk, fantastic one for the E32. Right, let's move up to the E38, and this again is very well done by bimmerforums.com and the .co.uk version of the site as well. So if we go to bimmerforums.com, they have a lot of information on there on the the 7 Series, the E38. Fantastic information, and they've got some really good people on there as well. There's lots of people on there. They've got lots of information on the E38 and done all the work and all the rest of it. So .com, Bimmer Forums, that's fantastic for the 7 Series, especially the E38 in particular. Very good on the bimmerforums.com, so you get some great information there. Now, also, I missed it on the E31. We've also got bimmerforums.co.uk, and that's quite a lively site as well. So it's got a lot of stuff going on in there, a few meetings and things like that. Lots of things to go through on bimmerforums.co.uk. Now, when we move on to the E63 and E64, the 6 Series, then there seems to be a paucity of information. It seems that the newer the cars get, there's less information on them, and the forums are very quiet. So for a change, bimmerforums.com is extremely quiet on the 6 Series. Hardly anything at all, not really worth going there. But bimmerforums.co.uk, fantastic for the E63 and E64. So I go whiz on to there, and there's lots of information, and it's a very lively site as well. Well, especially for the 6 Series, whereas bimmerforums.com, quiet, post every couple of days, I should think, and an answer every week after that. So there you go. Those are the main sites for the cars. The 6 Series, bimmerforums.co.uk, 7 Series, bimmerforums.com, 8 Series, bimmerforums.com. Don't forget the 7 Series register for the E32. But the bimmerforums.com E32 site is very lively. Right, in addition to this, obviously I've got MeekNet, which has been around since 2006, and I've always used the front end that has a bit of interest to it. So rather than just having a list of things you can do with a car, I've got little buttons you press and it'll take you through to the routine. I can understand that that's quite difficult to search sometimes. So I've always, recently I've had a search facility. So if we want to find something specifically, then you need to type in the model number to start with, because obviously I cover quite a few models and we need to find the right one. So we'll type in E31, we'll type in condenser, pretend that we need to repair that. So E31 condenser, search MeekNet, and yes, I should have spelled condenser with an E. And then we've got lots of images of stuff being done to my E31. So that's all the pictures of a repair done on the condenser. And if we go back to the all, and then we can find my Bmw E31 air conditioner condenser replacement. And so that's the best way to use MeekNet if you haven't used it before. Now, if you have used it before, then you should know where most things are. But using the site facility, using the search facility on MeekNet is a very quick way to get anywhere. But if you're just interested in things E31, And then you can just sort of click on things if you've got some interest in it. For instance, fitting replica alloys, which isn't as simple as it seems. So we've got all the information on that. So back to MeetNet there. And that, of course, applies to the E64, where I've got quite a few repairs on that now. Every time the E64 goes wrong, then I'll put up the repair on MeetNet. Okay, so that's how we can use MeetNet. The E38 has got most of the repairs on it because I've had 4 7 series, and so we end up with a lot of routines done on it. Now, in addition to the routines, you can also get information. So, for instance, we've got the owner's manuals on all sorts of different years. And we've got sort of problems you might have with a car. So we have case studies. Well, I think they've still got them anyway. Yeah, they're all the green ones are the case studies. So if you've got a problem and it matches one of those case studies, that would be the way to go forwards. But in addition to that, we've also got Bmw Information. So we've got general information on the air conditioning capacities. If you need to know how much refrigerant you need to put in an E31, that's the place to go to. And it's 1.6 kilograms if you really want to know. But there you go. And power steering fluids, wheel offsets, car care products, and what sort of petrol is suitable for your car. That all sort of information is there, and that's available on all of the car types. And in addition to that, on the left-hand pane is the information from BMW. So basically the blue buttons, like these ones, they're work that I've done on the car. I'll just whiz you back up again. So if you've got a blue button, then I've done the work. Green button is for information, and the silver buttons on the left are for general information, but not necessarily jobs I've done. So yeah, that's the same for the E31. So if you want information on the E31, such as circuit diagrams and so on, then you can go to that E31 site, and all the circuit diagrams are down on the left-hand side. And because finding fuses and relays is hard, and then finding where they are in the circuit diagram is hard, then I've got a fuse finder page, and then you can search, do a Control F and type in, say, horn. I've got one match of that. There we go, there's the horn. And then when you click on the link, that will take you to the correct place on the circuit diagram. Now, it'll come up with the first page to start with, but don't start fiddling with it because it now has to load up the correct page. It takes a few seconds to do that, especially when we're right on the edge of a Wi-Fi signal. So yeah, it'll take a little while, especially with this slow connection. And then it will take you to the right place on the circuit diagram, so you know whereabouts in the circuit to look for the horn and the horn fuse and so on. And getting used to the circuit diagrams, which is called an ETM, Electronic Troubleshooting Manual, will save you a lot of time because you get used to the way that it's laid out. And that sort of brings me on, fortunately, to the information for the E38 and later models of the 7 Series, and the E63 and E64 6 Series. Now, there isn't basic circuit diagrams like there is here. So here we go. We've now been taken to where the horn is, and you can then find all the information about the horn and how it's connected and so on. Right, okay, so what about information and circuit diagrams and repair information for the 6 Series? Now that's in a new place, and it's called the TIS, and it's new TIS, so we'll type that in, new TIS info, and we enter the BMW Technical Information System, and then we just select a car. And I used this just the other day for my daughter's 118M Sport because I had to change the washer tank. So
I used this system to find out exactly where the washer tank is and how you're meant to get it out. Not straightforward, I'll tell you that for nothing. But so for the 7 series, got all the E38 stuff. E64, so you can see I've been here. E64 650i convertible, which is what I have. And then we've got all the wiring diagrams and so on. And we can go to the powertrain and say, for instance, the starting system. And this way you can drill down into the technical information system, and it will eventually take you to the circuit diagram and so on. So there's the circuit diagram for the brake switch. So let's go back to convertible, and we've also got repair manuals and technical data. So if we interested in the fuel supply, for instance, crankcase ventilation, because I've done that quite a few times. So repair instructions, removing and installing and replacing tank leak diagnostic module. That's not quite what I was looking for, so we're not going to go in there. It tells us, also got information, so it tells us about how the fuel system works in an E64. So yeah, newtiz.info is the place to go for circuit diagrams and repair instructions for the later cars, such as the 6 Series, E63 and 64 and so on, and more modern cars. Newtiz Info is the place to go. Rightio, so I think we've covered just about most of it. So forums, we've got bmwforums.com, bmwforums.co.uk. One more, E38.org for the 7 series. That's a fantastic place to go. So we go into there, E38.org, and the best way to use that is to do a search. So I quite often use this when I'm putting a post up on a forum and I want to give them the information. Well, one I seem to go for quite often is the ignition switch. So here we go, ignition, and that finds the ignition switch removal and replacement. So we can click on that, and then what it does is it brings up a post or other information where they go through how to replace the ignition switch. So fantastic photographs, part numbers, nice photos of it. Disconnect the battery, undo that, disconnect that, and all sorts. So that's how you replace the ignition switch in an E38, which is brilliant information. So yeah, E38 is another one. So we've got bmwforums.co.uk, bmwforums.com, the 7 series register. We've got E38.org for 7 series. A fantastic place. Newtiz.info for the more modern cars, very useful site. Of course, we've got Meeknet, and of course further information on Meeknet is now on YouTube. So I've got quite a few things on YouTube that are going to help people, hopefully. So yeah, and that's on the E31 and on the E63, E64, and now also on the Mini, which my wife's got one, and 1 series, which my daughter's had quite a procession of them. So if you go on to YouTube and search for Tim's BMW repairs and information, then you can get all the information there, and I've got quite a few routines, and I've moved over to also giving advice on how to maintain your cars so they don't go wrong in the first place. Right, I think we've just about covered that all. Now, obviously, there's lots of routines on YouTube by other posters, which is invaluable, and I use YouTube for things I haven't done before and I can't work out how to do them. And I must admit, the newtiz.info, the Tiz from BMW, isn't that easy to understand, and they do miss quite a few bits out. For instance, when I was doing the washer tank on my daughter's M Sport 1 series, and they told me how to get it out, and there's no way I was going to get it out like that at all. So many other bits and bobs had to come out as well. So it's not the be all and end all, and quite often it's the forums and YouTube which gives you the full information, whereas all these other places don't. So yeah, that's about it. I think we've covered just about everything. Gone on long enough on this video. So anyway, thanks very much for watching. Thanks for subscribing and the comments. I do like answering the comments, and I'll see you next time.